over to create little sampler booklets that we could pass out to all the different chiropractors and all the different offices promoting the importance of chiropractic. And so together we created an entirely new industry that really I never would have thought of if he hadn't been gutsy enough to say, I have an idea. And I think what happens for a lot of us is we have these ideas and we ignore them, and then suddenly somebody else comes up with the idea.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Well, welcome back to the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we discuss this miracle plant with so many names and how it's helping people in so many extraordinary ways. Well, today we have a very, very special episode. I might say that a lot, but man, I guess we're just having a lot of very, very special episodes. Today we're going to actually let you behind the scenes on a challenge that we ran for Dr. Fab Manchini, and I was so blown away by the content and by the guests, authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul and Chiropractic Chicken Soup for the Soul, and so many amazing doctors and chiropractors all talking about this really, really special community. So I wanted to kind of let you in behind the scenes so you could actually hear for yourself the power this miracle plant is being disseminated amongst all these wonderful holistic healers out there. So have a listen. This is the final day of the Scale My Health Business Challenge, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it. Happy healing! Welcome back. It's the final day, day 3 here on the Scale My Health Business Challenge. Congratulations for showing up. You're a doer, you're taking action, you're taking control of your future. Well, we've got some surprise guests that are going to be showing up. We have some incredible topics that we're going to be talking about today with Dr. Fab. We're going to be talking about frameworks. We're going to be talking about step by step, what it takes to scale your business from 7 to 8 or even 8 to 9 figures. We're going to talk about getting in the room, right? Being around these people, being around these individuals that have the mindset that are able to actually help you scale your business. So we're so excited to be doing that as well. Remember, Dr. Fab put it out there that we're going to be able to you're going to have access to $1,000 course to getting on television, the TV secrets and all of the insights that he has. So we're super excited for that. We'll be talking a little bit about that at the end. And there's a real special event coming up in Miami, September 8th. In Miami, there's going to be yachts, and it's just going to be out of this world. So those of you, we're going to make a very special, opportunity. There's, I believe, 5 spots that might still be available in Miami to join Dr. Fab and start, scaling your business right away. So without any other further ado, Dr. Fab, welcome back for day 3. Here we are.
Well, thank you, Justin. And for those of you that are here, thank you so much for making the time. So excited to be with you, primarily because, we've been talking the last 2 days about scaling your business, and we've been sharing tremendous amount of information to be able to recognize that it begins with a mindset. You got to have the mindset to be able to arrive to pretty much any destination you want to go to. But then, of course, you got to have those action steps. And I always look at those action steps as a combination log, the numbers of a combination log. If you have the right numbers, the right sequence, you can pretty much open up any log. But what happens a lot of times is that we get so many advices for so many different people. A lot of times we forget to listen to that little voice inside of us, the wisdom inside of you that pretty much knows what it is that you need to do, what it is that you want to be, what it is that you want to attract in your life. So I want you to understand that this is my first challenge I've ever done. It's been so much fun. Justin, you've made it so much excitement because we've been talking so much about the value. And, that's one of the things that at night when we finish, I can't wait to get up. This morning, again, I got up so early because my mind was just saying, oh, but there's so much more to share. And even though every time we finish, I always say to myself, did I give them enough value? Because really, that's the question we need to ask ourselves. Are you giving enough value to the people that you serve? We already covered yesterday that it's in serving that really the magic happens. And you can go from 6 to 7 figures and 7 to 8 and 8 to 9, but it requires your serving attitude, your serving intention. But then besides that, you got to recognize that you're worthy. You know, a lot of times people have a difficult time attracting money because they don't think that they're worthy. Their self-esteem has been inflicted in some way that is negative. Maybe you grew up in an environment that they told you that you'll never amount to anything. Maybe you grew up in an environment that you never saw anybody make 6 figures in a business. Or maybe perhaps you never seen anybody in your environment or your community that had actually achieved the level of success that we've been talking about. The good news is the fact that success doesn't have a gender, success doesn't have a race, success doesn't have an educational background, success doesn't determine how many people you know or don't know. Success is there to be grabbed. And the people that grab it are the people that actually recognize that there is a need out there. Remember what I said to you the last couple of days. When you solve the biggest problem is when you get to serve the biggest amount of people. So what is one problem out there in your industry, in your environment that you know right now you can solve? That's what I want you to be thinking about. And then the scaling of that is then you now can go deeper in solving that problem, or perhaps leverage different platforms to be able to solve it in multiple industries and not just one industry. I know that this last couple of days we've been talking about your health business. And yes, I do have a lot of people that I'm mentoring that are not in the healthcare industry, even though we talked about how important the healthcare industry is. Because the healthcare industry right now embraces the one component that all of us need to improve upon, and that is our personal development, our mental health. Our mental health is critical right now because so many people right now have been beaten and become victimized to the circumstances that we've been facing the last 2 years. But at the same time that people are becoming victimized, you also have a small percentage that are actually thriving more than ever. Why? Because those are the individuals that learn the lessons that I've shared with you the last couple of days and how to respond to adversity, how to respond to challenges, how to look at a problem as a friend in disguise that is just there to help you, push you to the person you were destined to be, or help you get out of your comfort zone and realize I'm not doing enough to serve the people in my community.
Well, I couldn't agree anymore. And I know that you've got a flight to catch, that you got to run out to Orlando and do a bunch of awesome, speaking engagements and hang out with your inner circle members and help promote their causes and their missions. And I know we've got some panelists on here and some surprise guests and some amazing speakers and influencers and entrepreneurs. So I want to make sure everyone gets enough time to come in and tell them, what it's been like working with, you, Dr. Fab, over the years, and how you've impacted their mindset and their health and their business, and really help them achieve their goals. And with all this in mind, that we're really focusing on taking that business to those 8 figures, to those 9 figures. And I see that we have some panelists on here, so I'll let you do an introduction and we can bring them on. And it's surprise guest time, everybody. So I know we've been sharing a lot of really great insights over the last few days, and get ready to hear some really, really cool things that are happening, how Dr. Fab and his inner circle has really helped their lives. So I'll let you take it away, Dr. Fab. Go ahead and give any introduction to, you see the panelists there, and I can't wait. I got my notepad and pen ready over here.
Well, I want to start with a dear friend, Patty Aubrey. Patty, thank you so much for making the time. I know that you got a very busy day, and I always feel so blessed that you have created probably the biggest brand in the literary world with the Chicken Soup for the Soul brand as the CEO and also the brains behind the whole organization. And I've been honored so much to work with you. But you also been training and helping people scale their business more than most people out there. So this is really a time where you can share pretty much anything you want to that will bring value to the people that are watching us right now, but also share a little bit about any experiences or things that are working together that we've been able to impact the lives of so many people.
Okay, are you sure? No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean, for starters, for those of you that don't know me, I was one of the original founders of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So I did publish 240 books and sold 500 million copies. And we did a ton of licensing and co-branding. And I'll never forget, it was probably 1998. I know it was because I just had my son. And I was laying in bed with a C-section and Jack says, "You've got to talk to this guy, Fab Manchini." And he said, "I have this idea." And I thought at first it was a little crazy, but I think I was on Vicodin or something. So I wasn't thinking very clearly and I didn't really know who he was. But he said, "Look, I think we could take this message to the world of chiropractic at a whole new level, because what people can do is tell stories. And so what if we were able to create Chicken Soup for the Chiropractic Soul? And what if we were to create little sampler booklets that we could pass out to all the different chiropractors and all the different offices promoting the importance of chiropractic?" And so together we created an entirely new industry that really I never would have thought of if he hadn't been gutsy enough to say, "I have an idea." And I think what happens for a lot of us is we have these ideas and we ignore them. And then suddenly somebody else comes up with the idea. And so as much as it seemed a little foreign, once I got to know Fab and realized he was really legit, because by the way, when you do get pretty successful, people come out of the woodwork from everywhere and anywhere. So you have to learn to also be very selective. I think a lot of us, when we're building our businesses, when somebody says yes, we just get so excited that we got a yes, that we don't ask ourselves, is that the right yes? Is that my ideal client? Is that person someone that shares the same values that I share? Can they do what they say they can do? And things like that. So that's I think a big thing for my success. It was really having to learn how to decipher and really create sort of a list of what each person had to be able to do, be and have to actually be part of it, or it was crazy. It was very difficult to do that prior to having that kind of clarity. I think the other thing too, and I think Fab, you said a little bit of this, but a lot of people that go out and want to do something different, they're working for themselves, they're starting a new business, they do it alone. And that's a dangerous thing to do because, like you said, what gets in our way is ourselves typically. And so if you leave me alone long enough with myself, I can talk myself into anything or out of anything. So I always say, find someone that's a good balance for you. I've been lucky to have Jack Canfield as a partner. He's very slow. He's very steady. He's very methodical. I'm like, I've got an idea, and everybody runs for the hills. And for a long time, I took that personally, that, oh, they just think I'm crazy. And finally, Jack and I were talking one day and he said, "You're not crazy. If you were crazy, I wouldn't be working with you for 3 decades. But my mind doesn't go as fast as yours. So I have to ask 1,000 questions. So then I understand what you're trying to articulate. And then we can go to our team together and not scare the crap out of them." And so that was something too. How do you bounce it off of? Once you have an idea, how do you start to share it and really get total clarity on your vision? Because once you have that, anything is possible. And when somebody says, "Well, that's never been done before," those are the best words you will ever hear in your life. It's like, great, there is an opportunity. And so often I feel like people are looking at what everybody else is doing. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I want it to come from inside me, whether it's through meditation, whether it's working with Fab and I'm out at a workshop or I'm traveling, doing the work, actually running the trainings. I actually do the work at the same time. It's when you get into an environment with a mastermind group or with a group like this that you create a safe enough space for you to really get in touch with what it is that you want. And I think especially for women, I ask them all the time, "What do you want?" And they look at me like I have 3 heads, because how often do we sit down and say, what do we actually want? I've got my kids covered, I've got my family covered, I've got my employees covered, or whatever it is. But am I really living my best life today? I have a client who wrote a book called 4,000 Mondays. And when I started to add up how many Mondays I most likely have left, I really started to get a little bit more selective about who I said yes to. So Fab, you're lucky I said yes to you. But honestly, I think for me, the biggest thing in scaling the business was looking at every opportunity, finding the right partners, not doing it all myself, delegating out anything and everything that I did not have to do. I don't have to answer emails. I don't have to write I don't have to do anything that's on the side that's not my creative side. And what I do is I really find people that can respect my creativity and living with kind of a crazy visionary, but can support it in a way where they can bring in the structure, which has sort of been my secret to success. So that's what I would say. I also think it's really important that you give yourself permission to really show up and speak up and be seen. And it's a hard thing to do. And it feels really weird at first, but the more you do it and the more you hang out with people like Fab and the rest of the group, it'll become normal. The first time you got on a bicycle, you probably fell off, and you're probably 2 or 3. If you were 30 and you fell off your bicycle for the first time, it hurts more because you're older and you're bigger and you're heavier. So just know, oh, this is one of those out-of-body experiences that I'm having, but I'm going to continue to move forward. And things do not happen overnight. They take time. And I think that's been a huge myth. People think, oh, I'm going to write a book and I hear this all the time. Oh, I have 3 books I'm writing. I'm like, okay, great. So when you finish the book, are you going to dump it in the alley? I mean, do you have a baby and leave it in the alley to raise itself? No, you market it until you're blue in the face, and you talk to everybody, and you build more relationships, and you ask for help, and you do all the things that you think, oh, that's not too important. Some of the least important things I've thought about became the most important. And the best thing that you could ever do for your success is to share your vision again with everyone. And I'll say this last and then I'll jump. And I know there's other people. I was right after The Secret came out, which I thought was a little crazy at first. I didn't know Jack was in the movie. He didn't tell me. And so I was very upset. There was no contract. And so, Fab, you might have been there. We were in Mexico and went to the screening. And I got out of that and I ran out of the room. He said, what, you hate it? I said, no, I'm going to get this gal a book deal. This is like the biggest thing since sliced bread. And then from there, I went and thought, well, let's look at what's missing. So, okay, vision boards, The Secret, but the vision boards look like ransom notes. And so an artist came to me and said, what if we made a beautiful vision board? And I thought, well, I don't know, but it was necessary. It was missing. So what are the holes? Where can you serve your clients at a higher level? That's always a question, right? And so we put together a vision board, and I went to my son's soccer game. He was probably in 6th grade at the time. And one of the guys there said, what are you working on? And I said, I'm creating this vision board. He's like, oh, I work with this guy that does all the George Foreman grill infomercials. If you want to put this together, I'd be happy to fund the infomercial. And I literally went back to the office and said, Jack, we're doing an infomercial and it's been funded. I just got a check for $1 million. He said, you should go to more soccer games. So again, I could have said, oh, same old, no big deal. But instead we created magic. So share your vision. Don't be afraid. For those that say no just means next. And share your vision with people that can hold it. I don't run to my bookkeeper as the first person I'm going to share a vision with, because she's going to tell me I'm nuts no matter what. So you have to remind yourself that if you just run to your family, they're probably going to be a little bit freaked out. So again, the importance of having mastermind groups, the importance of having things like this that you're on. This is the fuel. This is what will keep you going. It's not the next door neighbor who can't relate. We're all kind of unicorns, and sometimes we've got to stick together. So that's my spiel for the day. I hope it helps. I'm sorry I missed the last 2 days, Fab. It's been kind of a crazy week here in Nashville, but I appreciate you. And I hope you all have a great day. Listen to this guy. He's got some good stuff.
Thank you so much, Patty. And I appreciate you so much. And congratulations on all the success that you've had and all the success you're having right now. Because honestly, you embody that service spirit that we always talk about. That's what it takes to really have an impact in the world and to scale your business to those 7, 8, 9 figures. And you possess that. And here we also have Aldo. And Aldo, I'm a little biased because he's my brother. He's been in the technology world for a very long time with companies like American Express and many others. And he was one of the lead consultants for Amazon for the last 6 years, and now he just branched out into his own company. But Aldo, what's it been like to be a part of the inner circle? I know you've joined us a few years ago, and tell me a little bit about what you gained out of it that has allowed you to be even more effective in your role.
So one of the experiences that I've had with the inner circle And, you started the conversation. It used to be in the medical field, and a lot of the individuals in the inner circle of medical. But one of the experiences that I've had in the past 2 years is how that group has grown. And now it includes CEOs for private equity. It includes CEOs for financial services. It includes somebody like me that is, deeply entrenched in the IT and IT services field. It includes people in the medical field. It includes people that are experts at product development and product placement in the engineering fields. So the diversity of the group has increased to such a scale where if you're coming in from the outside, and you're not in the medical field, it's okay. There's a lot of people in the inner circle that are not necessarily in the medical field. And the other thing for me personally, it's as you come into this group, you're going to find a set of leaders in their industries that have possibly walked in your shoes and possibly walked many miles in front of you. So as you're presenting a challenge with yourself or presenting a challenge of a roadblock that you're facing, the likelihood that one or multiple of these individuals have already done it or have already faced those demons that you're about to face, and they can coach you and help you and get this for that one-to-one relationship with them for free, because it's just a conversation that you're having with them and help you and guide you solve that problem. So for me personally, it has been not about only the insights that I get from the team, but also the connections. Patty mentioned earlier, that she was at a soccer game and then she found a contact, and that contact became a business opportunity for her. This mentorship also has that network, and what I would go to is that network of individuals that you can always tap into because you're part of the same group, and discuss business ideas and perhaps even collaborate in businesses together. So for me, that has been the most value of the inner circle.
Well, thank you so much. And it's so wonderful because I know that you've been able to have such a successful track record since you graduated from college, but it's also because you continue to push the wave. And like you've always said, you live in a space where you're not trying to solve the problems of today, but actually the problems 10, 20, 25 years from now. And I think that that's what always will keep you on high demand. I also have Dr. Pierluigi Manchini, one of the top mental health individuals in the space, especially in the Spanish community. So Pierluigi, how has it been for you to be able to be in this? You've been in this mentorship probably about 5 years now. And in the inner circle, you have had so much growth and explosion for the last few years. What can you tell us a little bit about what it's been like for you, and what is the real benefit in being part of that inner circle and being part of those rooms in which we get together, as a group?
Thank you so much, Dr. Fab, and hello to everyone that's listening. And Justin, thank you so much. This has been really an extraordinary experience. This is the 5th year anniversary since I entered the mentorship. And it was one of those things where, I had been in the industry 25 years. I had had a lot of success, but I sort of didn't know what was next. What is next? I had reached every goal that I had set for myself. What I did not know is that there was another world out there that I had no idea that it existed. When I went to my first mentorship in San Diego, everything started opening up. I not only started seeing Dr. Fab's kind of infrastructure and the path that he takes, which for me, it's transformational, not only because of the content, but because of the manner in which he connects you to what you already know. So what he ended up doing was waking up kind of that desire and opening up this path. So from the first time that I was there, I came out of the first mentorship with a plan. And that plan over the next year was implemented. It was highly successful. Before I knew it, I had a $5 million project that I started to manage. A book had been published. It opened up channels not only nationally, but internationally. And then over the last 2 years, almost 3 years, all of the areas that I had been working on that I was kind of stuck and I didn't know how to move forward, they all came to fruition, and I developed them in the mentorship and in the private group, because they were able to give me not only this more individual private sessions with people that had done what I wanted to do, but it also allowed me to get energized. Again, it's body, mind, and spirit, and financial. So people forget about the fourth one. So in the mentorships and in the inner circle, I was able to start looking at all of those areas in a way that it became automatic. The guests that come and show up at the mentorships are also transformational. They're individuals that were able to touch areas of my life that I needed to be developing, and I hadn't, because I was working on what my dream, what my goal was. And I've been one of those individuals that I've been blessed to know my mission and my vision since 1999, but I didn't know how to bring it out to those next levels. So in the mentorship, and especially in the inner circle gives me that individual time with other people that have achieved and that also have the higher level conversations that the 2 or 3 day mentorship doesn't allow us to have in the same level. It gives us the information, but here I have a way to examine it. So this last couple of years, I've missed the last 2 mentorships because of international travel. And I'm determined to make it in September. I had another trip, but I canceled it because I wasn't gonna let another one go by without me coming back and begin to give back some of the many gifts this mentorship has given me.
Well, thank you so much, Luigi. And it's so interesting because for me to see the evolution that you've had and how when you set your mind, when you make a decision, because you become a best-selling author since you've been in the mentorship, you've now lectured all over the world. You've actually led teams of leaders of the world to be able to solve world issues, all because you realize that what you had created as your own success was based on your limitation of thinking. That was your reality. But when you expanded and you started being in a room with people that had created so much more than that, now you start realizing, why not me? They're just like me. Maybe if I can start thinking or doing differently, maybe I can do the same. And you continue to do that. And Justin, here we have another Inner Circle mentee, Dr. Frank Corbo. Frank has been extremely successful in the world of healthcare by not only creating one of the most successful healthcare magazines that we've ever seen, with millions of people out there receiving it, but also the fact that he's had multiple businesses, multiple clinics. But Frank, somebody like you that have actually worked with people like Jay Abraham and many others, tell me a little bit about what is it that you have found that the mentorship has done for you?
Well, first of all, I've had the privilege of knowing Fab for over 20 years. And for those of you who know my journey in becoming an entrepreneur in chiropractic, besides just a practitioner, because they're entrepreneurs too, but Fab gave me my start in one of the biggest projects I've been involved with, and because he believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I think what being related to Fab and you know, it's just, I feel like I'm part of Fab's family. I know now intimately Pierluigi. I know Aldo. Of course, I know his children. So I feel like I'm part of his family too. So that's just an added benefit. But there's things and that you were designed to accomplish, things that God made you to do. But in order to accomplish those things, you need somebody in your corner that believes in you sometimes more than you believe in yourself. And so being involved with Fab in the mentorship, in the inner circle, Fab has pushed me to accomplish some of the things that I believe I've been created to accomplish, because he's had trust in me. And part of this group, what I believe there's 4 key elements to being a part of this group. Number one, you get accepted into the group. And this group, as the other panelists have been talking about, this group is exceptional. Once you're in the group, you have this identity that comes along with being a family member, with being part of this group. And when you have those two components, when you're accepted and you have this identity and you're put in a safe place, right, where you can, share your failures, your transparency, things like that, then I believe you're positioned to accomplish your purpose. Oftentimes we don't feel like we're in a safe place. The mentorship is a safe place. It's a place where we talk about the things that we're scared of, the things that we failed before at. And then you get encouragement because you get maybe a different perspective, or you get somebody telling you, you know what, I've been there, I've done that, I've paid the dumb tax, here's what I would do, these would be my next steps. So I think the greatest part about being involved in the inner circle, the mentorship in general, is that you have somebody to rely on, somebody who believes in you, somebody that will answer the phone anytime, day or night, and provide what you needed. Being a part of this mentorship, not only relationally, because as leaders, relationally, what happens is we're on islands, right? And we're isolated. And when we're isolated, we're insulated from the things that were meant to build us. The Bible tells that things were meant for evil, but God used them for good. And sometimes we have to avail ourselves to learning more about ourselves and have people like that. So certainly relationally, it's been one of the greatest groups I've been involved with. And then from just a pure economic standpoint, this is called the mentorship, but really what it is FAB is the greatest connector relationally of anybody I've ever met. So I'd call his mentorship a connectorship, because FAB can't help but to connect you with somebody else because he knows your value more than yourself. And he will put you out there in such a ways I'll never forget. And I apologize for going on and on, but Fab, I love you so much, as you know. But I'll never forget, I had this great fear of failure. And we were at one of the one of the earlier inner circles. And it's a two-hour time when we're getting together with high-level people. And I was a little bit nervous. And then Fab introduces himself, introduces some of the other people. And there's maybe like an hour and a half left. And he goes, Frank's going to take it from here. And he hands me the microphone. And I have to get out of my fear of failure. But it was one of the greatest times for me because it extracted what Fab knew all along was inside of me. And it was my best. And so Fab, I couldn't thank you enough for allowing me to be a part of this group. I love you as much as I could tell you.
Well, thank you so much, Frank. It's so great to see you, and I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks in Miami. Yep. And I tell you, you have been the same for me. I have watched you grown. I have watched you not only become and continue to be one of the greatest fathers to your children and husbands to your wife. And that's one of the things that in the mentorship, especially in the inner circle, we realize that a lot of times we sacrifice the things that truly matter for the sake of our success. And that tends to be sometimes our family, our health, our faith even. And in our group, what's beautiful about it is that you have very successful people that I actually sharing the stories as to how they, unfortunately, were not able to sustain either a relationship or something because they ignored it. And so one of the things that I do, and I'll remind you of, and that is that when we work together, yes, we're going to work on 3 primary objectives every month. But I want one of those objectives to be your personal life, whether it's your health, your family, your relationships, your faith, anything that you feel is going to impact you personally. And that's one of the things that I believe is very important for all of us to recognize because it makes all the difference in the world. So, well, I have another one of my inner circle mentees, one of the most successful integrative doctors in the country. If you go to New Jersey, you will know because he's very famous in that state. He has brought so much health to so many people along the way, and that is Dr. Raj Gupta. So Raj, it's so great to see you. If you could share with us a little bit about who you are and also what the Inner Circle mentorship has done for you and being part of that group. And over the years, you've been with me almost over 5 years now, and you continue to be excited and continue to renew. So tell me a little bit about what's that all about?
Well, Dr. Fab is really fabulous and lives up to his name. I will tell you that being in the mentorship group and, of course, the Inner Circle has allowed me to network with some of the big time thinkers in my profession and other professions that have encouraged me and given. So every time I attend a Fab event, I stand up and I share with the entire group, usually by the end of the weekend, that I don't feel comfortable anywhere else. It's those people in that room. No one gets me. I live in a world on my own planet until I meet with these people, because these are my peeps. These are the people that understand me. They are entrepreneurs. We all think the same way. And unfortunately, in day-to-day life, you can get beaten down by those small thinkers. So it's very important to me and the Inner Circle especially to meet with those that are like-minded, because it gives me the courage every time I'm on the plane traveling home. I know I can and I will. It's reassurance. It's again, like-minded people, and the networking, the people I have met have changed my career. I learned about functional medicine from another client of Dr. Fab's, and now I'm going to be on TV reversing someone's type 2 diabetes. So I can't, meeting Frank Corbo, meeting some of the people in the group literally have changed. Dr. Patrick Porter is like a hero to my 5-year-old because of Brain Tap. I am constantly exposed to cutting edge services that keep me ahead of the curve. And I just, the relationship I have with Fab is invaluable to me personally and professionally.
Raj, we feel the same way. And I think it was one of the other Inner Circle mentees that mentioned, it is like a family. One of my objectives in that room is to create, and with the group, because remember, we get together 3 times a year where we get to share with each other, bring our significant others, brings our family. But more importantly, we get together throughout the year online and also on a weekly basis. I'm with you, right? So we get to connect all the time. But one of the things that I recognize is the fact that it's very important to create a safe environment. And that's one of the things that I work really hard, because for years, for 30 years, I've been into some of the biggest environments out there. And what I recognize is that a lot of times when you're not comfortable, you're not able to express yourself with some of your insecurities. And as a leader and an overachiever, all of us, don't want to look differently to people that we don't know. But the nice thing about this group is that you can put all of those defenses down. In fact, I call it a mask. You can take your mask off and say, this perfect mask, hey, there's a person in here that is dealing with some issues. I'm having some health issues that I haven't told anybody. I'll never forget one time we were in an Inner Circle meeting and we had one of the most successful doctors in America out of California. And she gets up and says, I've never told this to anybody, but I don't like myself when I look at myself in the mirror. And everybody looks at her and says, my God, you're so beautiful. You're so perfect. And she says, this has been an issue that has impacted not only my relationship with my husband, with my children, but with everyone that I come in contact with. And we were able to support her and love her and help her recognize that what she was seeing was really not a reflection of her reality. Those were all programs that were put there by who knows. Could have been an old boyfriend that told her, you're ugly, that's why I'm not going to date you. But these are the things that need to be. How many times have we had that Inner Circle meeting with couples have broken down and say, you know what, we're at the verge of maybe getting a divorce. And then the group loves them and they can talk about it. And if they can make it, great, they'll make it. But if if maybe a divorce is the best thing for both of them, then that's fine too. But the good news is that there's no judgment. It's pure love, pure acceptance. And the reason for that is because we all recognize that we have an opportunity to share with each other the things that most of us will never be able to share, even sometimes with our significant others, because we don't want to worry them, etc. Dr. Raj, did you say something?
I do. I have to jump, but I have to say this, Fab, because I must tell you that this is like a family. Many of the mentors in your group have been to my home for the weekend. They are the closest friends I have now, personally and professionally. And by the way, I told you it affected my life. My wife and OT for 18 years after listening to some of the attendees mentorship.
Well, I think we lost Dr. Raj, but one of the things I wanted to be able to bring to you is another one of our inner circle, a man that I have admired so much. I thank God every day for having him in my life, because he's literally changed my life and my family's life, especially my children's life. And that is Dr. Patrick Porter. Patrick is one of the most revered brain experts in the world when it comes to reprogramming your brain for success, when it comes to being able to understand the science of how the brain actually is an organ that allows us to adapt to our environment. And he developed probably, in my opinion, the greatest technology that every single human being should have, and that is BrainTap. And Patrick, you've been part of this mentorship for quite a bit. Tell me a little bit about some of the benefits that you have found of being an inner circle, and what have you found? I mean, you're a PhD, you're world-renowned, you have one of the biggest neuro companies of the brain function in the world. Tell me a little bit about why you find this group so effective for you.
Well, I think mainly when you're at the top of your game, like most of the people that are in your mentorship program, you don't have a lot of people to call. You don't have a lot of people to talk to, and they don't understand. So you're dealing with people that have been through what you've been through, and they give you insights. I mean, we've learned so much each time that we get together. And then, of course, the relationships, just like Dr. Raj was talking about when he got off, the relationships when you're done, these are relationships that I think are going to last forever. I mean, we've met some pretty close friends now since being in there. And I think the other is that we can only make changes in the world to the degree that we have people that are going to support us and help us to do that. At some point, we're going to run out of our own steam. So we can't do this alone. So you bring together the right people who can make things happen. And they've made things happen on all levels for our business. So it wasn't just one level. I mean, you've helped us see things that, when you're so close to what you're doing, you need creative eyes. And for me to pay for each of those people to give me the insights they did, there's no way I could afford it. They just wouldn't give me the time of day. But now, because they're part of your group and we're together, they take an interest. And so I think you've done a great job cultivating the people in the group and building a relationship, a synergy where, nobody feels threatened. I mean, it feels like everybody's there to support and help. I think, when I first came in, I did a preview day like you've done before, and I was so disappointed that I didn't plan my trip to stay the rest of the weekend. I think I told you that. I said, if I'd have known it was going to be this good, I would have planned to be there the whole weekend. But I couldn't, the first one that I went to. But ever since then, we've been coming in and making sure we stay the whole time and just enjoy, because not only during the presentations part of it is good, but the socialization is so meaningful, because we don't get a chance to do that. When you're at events and you're traveling, a lot of times people just want from you. But at your event, it was more of a community where, everybody was sharing and there was no real pressure to do anything with anybody. It was just a nice environment.
One of the things that I find is, I remember the first time you came by yourself, and then you started coming with your wife, which is a partner of yours in the company, but also your lovely wife that you've been together with. One of the things that, Justin, a lot of people don't realize is our mentees, especially in inner circles, they bring their significant others. Over 80% of them do. And the reason for that is because it is a community. You know, a lot of times you go home and you're so excited because here you are listening to some of the biggest names in the world, getting to know them and being so inspired that you want to share it with your loved ones. But then they look at you and say, why didn't you invite me? I wanted to be there. I wanted to enjoy that moment. And that's one of the things that I find very interesting. So Patrick, you've been very successful in all of your endeavors. But what would be maybe one tip that you can give us that you have found that is critical in scaling your business? You are a master at that. You have grown this company, BrainTap, to such a degree. But what would be one thing that you would recommend people to consider when it comes to scaling your business?
Well, partnering, I think, is big, and masterminds are a part of that. You know, finding the right people with the right fit, whether it be universities that we work with or different groups. Like we have a lot of chiropractic groups, a lot of DO groups. Those are the main groups that we work with. But now we're spreading out into this new anti-aging format. I find groups that will accept what you do. In my world, of course, if I was just doing a regular clinic, then it'd be different. But like what we did was you're always trying to find that right fit partner who's going to, you know, work together, and there's a synergy there, and it's hard to find those people. So that's why it was so nice coming to your event, because they're right there. I mean, you might not be able to get them to pick up the phone, but you can set up lunch with them, you can set up dinner with them. And I mean, these are big time players. They're not, most of them are really high level. So, you know, some are just starting out. Of course, we got to help them out. But I think that what helped me more than anything is to realize I can't do this on my own. I've got to have help. And I've always been a big one for mentors and to get coaching my whole life, because I knew that, you know, the worst thing, the death knell for success is thinking you know everything. So, you know, we want to make sure that, my dad ingrained that in my brain. So I'm always looking for who's that next person I'm going to learn from, grow from. How can we work together? How can we make a synergy that we both win and we remain friends forever? You know, I never want to do a deal where I have to avoid a conference or avoid a city maybe because I did something that wasn't there. I mean, not all business transactions are going to be successful, but you need to at least go in with the intention that everybody's going to win and everybody understands the risk, and then together. And I think that's what I've done better than most, because we've always created that win-win scenario. Even back when I first started and I started working with Parker University, that was one of the first ones I went to because you had the biggest groups. So, you know, that's where I went because I thought I'm going to go get chiropractors. So who are those people? So you go to the big dogs and you get them to help you. And even at the time when they didn't know who I was, I got support. You know, that's the way it works.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I know you got a very busy schedule. I appreciate you making the time to come to this live event. And I just want you to know I love you. I appreciate you and your family. And thank you so much for trusting in us to be able to continue to support your growth and especially continue to enjoy life and every time that we get together. So, you know, Justin, I just get so excited because, you know, as you can hear, these are the people that I get to hang out every single week with. I mean, every single week I get conversations and we get together physically 3 times a year. We have the opportunities to get together online and converse with each other. And one of the things that I am the most proud of this group is not necessarily the knowledge and the skill and the experience that I bring. And then, of course, I have all my ultra successful inner circle friends that have accomplished so much success to come and pour on them. But it's actually themselves. And, you know, for almost 4 years, I did not ever have an inner circle speak, you know, at our event. They were always the biggest names out there, Dr. Phil and T.D. Jakes and Les Brown and Jack Canfield and Dr. DeMartini, all the people that we've talked about in the last couple of days. Those have always been my speakers. But about a year ago, we were having a meeting and one of the individuals that are inner circle said, you know what? We come here 3 times a year to the most beautiful resorts at a fraction of the price. You know, I mean, our price right now at the Four Seasons, which we're going to be in Miami, is actually 1/3 of what they're retailing it on the website. So, you know, we are very conscientious to try to keep the experience the highest level, but also be conscientious not to be crazy with our expenditures, because that's a responsible leader. But one of the things that I realized is the fact that when they mentioned that, they said they wanted to hear from each other. There was so much success in that room, and say, yeah, we love to hear from this one and that one, but wouldn't it be great to hear from somebody like Dr. Porter, somebody like Dr. Raj has been such a great business, somebody like Aldo that has been taking Amazon to a whole new level over the last 7 years, somebody like Pierre that has revolutionized the mental health industry in the United States and the world, and so many other inner circles that we have. And that's what we started doing. So now I take a few inner circles, especially the ones that have actually created a lot of success since the last meeting, and I have them come and share what they're doing, so that way everybody can benefit from that success. And that has actually bonded the community even more. And what's interesting now is that those big names, they come to hear them speak instead of the opposite, and that is really something that for me has really created an environment unlike any other out there when it comes to mentoring or masterminding, because it's really a community where you can be yourself, where you can actually share your biggest dreams and nobody's going to laugh at you. They're going to actually embrace it. They're going to actually tell you you're probably not thinking big enough, or in an environment where you can actually listen to such high level thinking that it stops all the pettiness and all the excuses that keep so many people from not succeeding. I already said that the 8-figure mindset is going to have at least 9 out of 10 people that are going to talk you out of that idea. You got to surround yourself with people that are going to embrace and support and encourage that idea. And that's what I think we created with our Inner Circle program.
Absolutely. And in not only encourage and embrace, which is wonderful to be supported, because, we are kind of the 1% crazies that are entrepreneurs and with our hair on fire and, risk takers and willing to push through, but also give you ideas. I mean, really, that's the whole point of a mastermind. If you look at my pen here, it's a little thing that says "Think and Grow Rich," and that's the original Napoleon Hill book in 1937, which was the original masterminds with Henry Ford and the Rockefellers and everybody that got together. And they not only encouraged each other, which is so important to have support, like Patrick was saying. We can't just do it all on willpower. We have to have some people lift us up. And as you can feel this energy over the last 3 days, that vibration, vibrating at a different level. And we talked about vibrations with Brain Tap with Patrick, that was, in sleeping with deltas and betas. And again, so not only having the vibration, but also literally coming and being open and vulnerable and sharing what my issues are, and then having 3 other people in the group that are like, well, I remember when I had that problem, this is what I actually did to solve it, right? Where else are you going to get that? And for those of us that have had business partnerships in the past fail, right? And sometimes they do, it can get messy and ugly, and it's just not the most beautiful experience. But when you join a mastermind, when you find the right family, the right community, you basically get to take on 75 or 100 business partners without having to split equity, right? And yes, you can do these things called joint ventures or a JV, where you do like a 50-50 split, whether it's an affiliate program, or, hey, how about you market my product or service to your list, and I'll market your product and service to my list, or I'll get on your podcast, you get on my podcast, and these synergistic relationships start to happen. And like Patrick was saying, you can find those business, maybe you do find a business partnership out of it, but at the very least, you have someone that can give you an idea, or just that one nugget. Look, one idea can change your business. One relationship, one handshake, you're always just one, thing, one nugget, one relationship away from scaling like crazy. I was on another call yesterday, and I'm in the marketing world, as you can tell here, and he knew he needed to publish every day on Instagram, and he knew it, and do those short videos on YouTube and TikTok. And he just finally, after being in a mastermind for 5 years, he said, finally, I'm going to do it. And after 3 months of doing it, seeing nothing, he exploded. His business exploded. He's getting over 1,000 leads a day from Instagram and all the short videos. And it took him 5 years of being in a mastermind to finally implement it. But he took the action and he had the support and he did it, and the idea worked. And that's what it happens, is when you get yourself in the room with other people that are succeeding, that are pushing the envelopes, and you're all trying to help each other, because as rising tides lift all ships, it's just a beautiful experience. So I'm so excited that we got to spend all this time. And I know we've been talking about this Miami Mastermind, and I'm telling you, I've been to the Inner Circle. I've been to these events. Dr. Fab, absolutely. I've never seen anyone go at more nice places and better environments than that. So I'd love just to share a little bit with the audience. What's this Miami event all about? I know you talked about reserving maybe 5 spots for people that are watching this right now. And if it's before September 8th, we'll have a link for you to go to talk to Dr. Fab. But, Dr. Fab, tell us a little bit about this Miami event. I know it's going to have a lot to do with scaling.
Well, it's interesting because as we were launching this particular challenge, I realized that since we're talking about scaling our businesses, why not bring some of the most amazing people that I know, the Inner Circle members that I know, that can actually bring the most effective event in scaling your business. And yes, we have many people in that room that are already at 8 figures. Some of our 9s, that there's some that are 10. But there's also an opportunity to be able to remind ourselves and get ideas, and be able to stay fine-tune what we're doing. Because one of the biggest challenges, like recently, I had a friend of mine that was saying, I asked the question, why do you like working with me? If you're so successful, why would you need somebody like me? And this is what they said, Justin. The reason I like working with you is because it is harder to sustain a successful business than it is to grow a new business. Think about it for a minute. It is harder to sustain a successful business. When you're already at 8 figures, it is much harder. So you got to work harder because you got to be thinking clear, making sure that none of those systems are broken, that we haven't gotten so complacent that we have stopped doing the things that got us there in the first place. That all of a sudden we're thinking that everybody in the world knows about us, when in reality, there is a whole bunch of people out there that have no idea what your product or services may be. So this is what we created. So this event in particular, we're calling it Scaling Your Business, Your Health, and Your Wealth. And I brought some of the biggest names out there to be able to come and share with you how to do that, how to be able to biohack, your health in a way like never before, the latest technologies, the latest principles, what is really working to keep your health at the most amazing level of performance. And then we did the same with wealth. We're dealing with tremendous changes right now where businesses are being sold and bought. And how do you exit your business properly? How do you protect your assets? How do you try to find a way to minimize your taxation and still give your due back, but not overgive what is not needed? And then also in investments, we got one of the greatest individuals in investments coming in and sharing how to read this market. What is coming down the pipe? What do you do with your investments right now? Do you pull out? Do you stay in? Do you double down? I mean, these are the things that we don't know what we don't know, but all of us are impacted by it. And when it comes to your health, we have some amazing individuals that are going to share with you how to upgrade that to the level of no other way. And then your business. I mean, I'm bringing you people that have actually created the biggest businesses out there to share the best scaling behaviors and mindsets. So you don't hear it just from me. I'm going to kick off the whole event with that. In fact, my whole presentation is about the science of scaling. I want to break it down for you that you can really understand that scaling is something that anyone can do. You just have to understand it. You just have to understand what it is that you're doing. Then you put that formula into your business, and then you know exactly the areas that you need to work on in order to take that business to not only 7 or 8 figures, but whatever you choose to do. So these events are exciting. On Thursday is a day for the Inner Circle. So they get to mastermind and workshop together for the morning session, and then they get to do an activity and a lunch. So this time we're going on a yacht and everybody's getting together and we're just networking with those high level individuals. And then on Friday and Saturday, I have my regular mentees that come in, another 50 or so that are going to be coming in, and they're going to be enjoying the rest of the weekend. And what's beautiful about that is that the inner circles, are there because the other ones look at them as, hey, I want to buy that product, I want to buy that thing. And the collaborations, the collaborations that happen is, to me, the thing that everybody has mentioned that spoke today. The networking that happens in this event is beyond anything I've ever experienced. But I'm going to tell you, Justin, the secret. The secret is nobody's there to sell anything to you. Everybody's there is to actually understand what you do and see if there's a fit to collaborate together, if there's a fit to work together, if there's a fit for you to benefit from my technology or my product or my service, and can you benefit from what I have? Nobody's there to sell, but it's interesting because I hear when they tell me, I said, oh, I just did a deal with somebody that's worth millions of dollars. Thanks for introducing me and letting me be part of that circle. To me, those things just happen organically when you set the foundation to be here to be of service for everybody here. I don't attract people that go there to take something out of that group. I don't let them in. I get invited to a lot of those masterminds out there. That is one pitch after another pitch after another pitch. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to get to know people for who they are, who they're being. What impact do they want to create in the world? Can we align together and have a bigger impact together? Those are the people that I'm bringing in the room. Those are the people that I'm hoping that you will want to be a part of.
Absolutely. Well, it's so exciting. And there is an opportunity. Look, there are a couple spots that are still left in the inner circle. And I know Dr. Fab has a hard limit because he wants to make sure he delivers value and he keeps the right people in the community. But after you've been watching this and you feel a tug in your heart and you're like, this sounds like my tribe, this sounds like my vibe, this sounds like my people, we're going to put here in the chat right now that you just head over to www.drfabinnercircle.com. That's drfabinnercircle.com. And here's what Dr. Fab's willing, and it's an amazing, amazing gift that he's willing to do. He's going to let you get 15 minutes of his time, which if you do the math is somewhere around $12,500 for 15 minutes, because that's what he charges to speak, $50,000. So if you go to drfabinnercircle.com and you can book a free 15-minute consultation with Dr. Fab, and you can tell him about your business, you can tell him about what your dreams are, about where you are, where you want to be, and even pick his brain about what can help make your business that one thing. And of course, it's all about the community. As we've talked about on here, as you've heard today from these people, we can't do it alone. Willpower alone won't allow us. We don't have the capacity to know everything. We all have our blind spots. In fact, I was watching the movie Think and Grow Rich yesterday, and they had Henry Ford was on trial. The Chicago Tribune said that he was a fool, like he was a lucky fool that was able to build this massive company, Ford, with the combustible engine, and they put him on trial. And they were asking him and they were peppering him with questions. And his answers was, look, I don't know who the Secretary of State was for James Madison, but I know that I have a row of buttons on my phone that I can push any one of them. And I can call anybody that's in my mastermind with Napoleon Hill. And I can have titans of experts of whatever that specific thing is. And I can have an answer in 10 seconds. And that is the power of a mastermind. To be in the right room with the right people in the right industry that have the right connections, that have the right mentality, that have the right insights that can propel your business to 8 figures and beyond. So all you got to do is head over to drfabinnercircle.com, click on the 15-minute link, talk with Dr. Fab, tell him why you think you would be the right fit for this community. Tell him, where you are, where you want to be. And if it's a fit, great. You know what I mean? Wonderful. And then he'll tell you more. There's an event coming up September 8th, but there's an event 3 times a year. So if you're watching this on a replay or an encore presentation, go to drfabinnercircle.com, sign up for the 15 minutes. meet with Dr. Fab. You know, like I said, tell him why you think you'll be a perfect fit for the inner circle. And I promise you, if your heart is telling you what to do, trust your instincts, take action. As we've talked about, no thought, just do. And you'll be able to be a part of this amazing, beautiful community. I'm so blessed to have been able to be a part of this, to met Dr. Fab, to take this out to the masses. You know, and like I said, and it might be if you're watching this on an encore presentation, it might be too late. It might have already been full, and there will be a waiting list. You know, because sometimes waiting lists might take a year or two. And I know, like Green Bay Packer football tickets, you got to wait 20 years sometimes. But I encourage you, if your heart's telling you to take action, trust your heart. Go to drfabinnercircle.com, set up a 15-minute appointment with Dr. Fab, and let's really take massive action and scale that business, that mission that you've been wanting to do. To take it to the next level. So that is the call to action, as they say. Dr. Fab, any final comments? I know you got to run out to hop on a plane to go help some more Inner Circle members out there on the East Coast, but any final comments before we wrap up?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Justin. Thank you for allowing us to have this time. Thank you for moderating this challenge so well and being able to recap some of the lessons that you're getting and also share it from your heart, your experiences within being part of this inner circle, and more importantly, being able to network with all these amazing people that you've gotten to know and you're going to be seeing in Miami real soon. And for those of you that are listening, I'm going to leave you with these final thoughts. And it's one of my favorite quotes by Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein said, "You can't solve the problems of today with the same level of thinking that created them." You can't solve the problems of today with the same level of thinking that created them. I want you to understand that I read that quote many years ago, and it made me recognize, and it led me to the work of Napoleon Hill and many others, that everything begins with your thinking. So this challenge is really to stimulate your thinking and to inspire you to think differently, because you cannot achieve a different outcome with the same level of thinking that got you there in the first place. You're going to have to upgrade your thinking. So if you're ready to change that thinking, if you're ready and say, you know what, I'm only at a 6-figure business, great, welcome. I want to work with you because I want to show you the principles, the science behind getting into a 7-figure business. And if you're a 7-figure business, great. Let's talk about becoming a 9-figure business. If you're a 9-figure business, great. Let's go into 10, because the principles are the same. All we're going to do is we're going to be able to allow you to do 2 things. Number one, put that formula into action in your business. Be able to test it and be able to recognize, am I doing everything I need to be doing to be able to be an 8-figure business? That's number one. Number two, you're going to be able to network with other people like you or other people that are in a business that already reached a higher level. So that way they can become your mentors, your friends, individuals that you can bounce ideas. I mean, Dr. Raj mentioned, he's had so many inner circles stay in his house. Well, it's one of the most beautiful houses in New Jersey, and he's got so much space, like he's always welcoming all of the anybody that goes to New York or New Jersey is going to end up spending at least one night with him because he's such a great host with his beautiful wife. They take care of you and they just want to nurture you. But you know how great is that you get to actually create new friendships and upgrade your friendships to the level of people that you want to become like. Remember what I said in the beginning, you become the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Now, remember that inner circle is going to be more than 5 people, right? But it's going to be in people that are going to influence you, people that are going to push you to become the better version of yourself. And that's really what I want to leave you with. If you want to upgrade your mind, if you want to solve the problems and the challenges you're facing, you got to change your thinking. So give yourself an opportunity. If you want and you feel inspired that this resonates with you and that you feel that this may be a good fit, let's have a 15-minute call. And that way we can explore to see if it is. If it's not, that's okay. I promise you there's going to be some great value in those 15 minutes because I don't do anything that doesn't create value. That is my principle. That's how I've been able to achieve the success that I have, because I realized that my greatest worth is when I'm bringing value to other people, to other entities, to other companies. And that's what I've dedicated these last 6 years to be able to build this amazing inner circle group, because I want to help you. So I hope that this inspires you. I hope that you're excited. I hope that you take an action step and be decisive like Bob Proctor tells us. I hope that you will start writing all your goals and make sure every single day you're thinking bigger and bigger, and do not settle for the goals of last year. You deserve more than that. And if your self-esteem is a little bit fragmented and maybe you're not attractive because you don't feel worthy, just give me a little time with you. I'm going to let you realize that you have everything you need right inside of you. It's not about a matter of adding more into your life. It's a matter of getting rid of the things that are actually keeping you from showing up. And that's what the mentorship and the inner circle is all about.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. And I would go run and sign up, but I'm already signed up. So I encourage you to get out there, head to drfabinnercircle.com. And don't forget the 2 incredible bonuses. Just for signing up, we're going to send you access to get the $1,000 How Do I Get on TV secrets from Dr. Fab and all of his amazing connections and insights of how you can actually get on TV and get on those programs and tell the world about your mission and your business and your passion. And also we're going to be sending over the studies that we talked about with fasting, and Dr. Fab has incredible resources that he can send over to you to really take control of your health, because without your health, all the wealth in the world means nothing. And you're going to need that energy. You're going to need that health to accomplish 8, 9 figures and beyond. So again, I want to thank Dr. Fab and all the panelists and all the guests and everybody that joined us. I want to thank you for showing up. You took action. You made a decision. You're here watching right now. And that means you're an action taker. You have a calling. You're doing more than 99% of the world. You're actually taking action. Now it's time to take massive action. Head on over to drfabinnercircle.com and get signed up for a 15-minute consultation with Dr. Fab. Tell him about your passion. Tell him about where you want to be, and tell him why you think you'd be a perfect fit in the Dr. Fab Inner Circle. And hopefully, if you're watching this before the Miami trip, we'll see you in Miami on a yacht. So again, thanks everybody. Thank you, Dr. Fab. And take massive action. Trust your instincts. Listen to your heart. And we're so excited. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. And we will hopefully see you in Miami, or San Diego, Carlsbad is the next one. So take care, everybody.
I'm Larry Michigan. I'd like to invite you to join Jim, Marty, and me on our weekly podcast, The Deadhead Cannabis Show. Each week we explore the latest cannabis and jam band news and reminisce with other cannabis industry deadheads and jam band aficionados about the great musical acts that we've seen and heard. Check out a new episode every Monday at mjbulls.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.